Hello, everyone. I just got done with dancing and I am exhausted, but I think that's the best time as any. I'm physically exhausted, but mentally, I can exert myself a little bit more before I go to bed and plop if I don't hiccup. But I think what I want to talk about today is what Ryan and I will be talking about tomorrow on our podcast, and that's about creation. And I think the main two things I want to cover here is the first one being how creation is so much harder than destruction. And I want to emphasize this point because I think in our current modern society, there is a want to tear down and destroy different institutions. So, for example, the first thing that came to mind was the police, so American police specifically, with the defund the police. And I think, one, we live in such a safe society nowadays and comfortable society that people are trying to look for something to be mad about, because that's our natural state of being, is survival, and if we don't have anything to survive against, then our brains make things up to survive against. And so unfortunately in 2020, after the horrific tragedy that was George Floyd, there's complications to that, of course. I don't want to get into that today, so we're just going to keep going. But there was a large push to defund the police, and then there was the zone in Portland, Oregon, where they created their own society because they didn't think they needed the ambulances or the police. They could govern themselves. And the first part, the defund the police, is pretty much destruction, because if you don't feed a system, it slowly dies, and that's what's happened with the police. And it's you can see how easy it was. In Austin, I saw my mother's Austin Police Department, so I saw the direct impact it had on the system of the officers. And it's so much easier to destroy something that you think is evil than to build something back up that needs to be building. And most of the time, whenever you destroy or you denigrate or denigrate, usually it's not for the better. And in this situation, with the police officers, the defunding of the police saw the lack of resources necessary to bring in new trained officers onto the force. It also scared high-ranking officers, so with a lot of experience, to the point that they all retired. So you get a situation where, at least in Austin Police Department, there's no people of experience and only untrained and inexperienced recruits. And that's just a recipe for disaster. So instead of helping the institution. By deteriorating it and practically trying to destroy it, things got worse. Now, there are certain situations where you do need destruction to renewal of life. A good one in nature is what fires are to nature. A lot of fires are meant to clear out all the dead wood beneath the canopy of the trees and all the trees so that new life can spring up from the ashes. No pun intended. But that's few and far between. And I think you have to be very careful on your intentions for doing things. Are you doing it because you're emotional? Are you doing it because it's necessary for the growth of the world and others? Are you doing it because someone else said so? Are you doing it? What is your intention? And in this situation, creation is so hard because it took hundreds of years, and you could even go thousands of years if you go back to the Law of Hammurabi. I think I'm saying it right, where the eye for eye, it was actually, so fun fact, the Law of Hammurabi has the eye for an eye, but it's only depending on your social status. So if a social man, if a high-ranking official took the eye of a high-ranking official, then he would lose an eye. If it was like a high-ranking official took the eye of a slave, then it would just be in pound, and the currency, have to pay him back in currency. Totally corrupt. But if you go back to that, it's been hundreds of thousands of years of development and growth and understanding what law should be and justice should be to get to where we are now with the police departments. And it's terrible to see that in maybe less than a year, it could have just all went to shit. All of that growth is gone. But like I said, life is impermanent, so it ever changing and ever developing and growing and morphing into different forms. So even if, let's say, America or these police departments were to fall, something would take its place. And maybe it's not something good, but it'll take its place. And maybe that, if it's not good enough, it'll fall as well. And that's how I think evolution kind of works. Is if you're not good enough, then you die off. And I don't think that's this situation, but it might be, because who says every empire has fallen? Who says America is in another empire? That's another discussion, but that's what I think. Firstly, that creation is much harder, much more difficult than destruction is. And I don't think I did a great job of explaining it, but I think if you just think about creating a gingerbread house, how much time you put into it, like 30 minutes or an hour, and you can destroy it like that. So think about it like that. The second thing I want to talk about with creation is what Stephen R. Covey in 7 Habits of Highly Effective People talks about. The second habit, which is I don't want to say the first creation, because I don't always think it starts with first, but it's the imagination's creation, and it's reality's creation. So what Stephen R. Covey argues is that this imagination and creation is first needed. So you need to create that idea in your head and understanding of it. And then afterwards, you can go into reality's creation and actually building it within this world. And he argues that's for everything. Anything you see is an idea first. So I guess, as he would probably be right, that it's the first creation is in the mind, it's the idea, and then the second creation is the physical component of physical creation. So if you have a book, at first it's an idea that is made into whatever book you're talking about. Yeah, because I think I do think that's true. Now I'm thinking about it and talking about it because of what the history. No, William Durant. The book's called "The Lessons of History." One of the lessons is that he talks about is everything you see was first an idea. And it's kind of mind-boggling because you look around and you're like, oh shit, like, you're right. Like, this book, well, the concept of the book was an idea first because probably people needed to record things. But then this specific book, it was an idea in someone's head that they put down into writing. This microphone that I'm looking at, was first an idea that had to be blueprinted and constructed. This phone, the concept of the phone, the actual phone itself, it first had to go through the idea phase of how are we going to do this before creating it. Now, I don't think it's necessarily... I think it's more of like a circle of ideas, of creations, because how it seems to me is you have the idea and then you work on it and then you say, oh, this is kind of shit, let me change it here, and it goes back to idea and then goes back to creation, or you play in creation for a little bit and then you go back to that idea. So it's more or interconnected than just it's first this and then this. It's this, then this, then this. So it's more interconnected than that. So that's the two things I'm just thinking about with creation. So first, that creation is, and I think that's self-explanatory, self-evident, is that creation is more difficult than destruction. And then the second idea of you have your imagination's creation and then reality's creation. So imagination being the idea of the creation, and then the reality's creation being the actual making it in reality. So pretty cool things, always cool things. But other than that, I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna go to bed probably, but I will see y'all tomorrow. Bye.